So now let's talk about surface and fit spline tools, and I'll start with surface spline. Now using surface spline we can make a 3D spline right along any surface. So I've got this drawing here which is made with a revolve feature, and I'll use the surface spline tool to make a spline right along the surface. So I'll go to sketch tab, and right underneath this spline flyout we have spline on surface. So select the tool and now just move your cursor right along the surface, and you'll notice that it will highlight different surfaces. In this case, I just want to start right here. Alright, so that's the starting point. Now I'll start making this spline, and as you can see, as I'm moving my spline, it is making it right along that surface, and it's a 3D sketch here. So again, I'll click, and again, I'll just click maybe right here, and now I'll just move it back in this direction. So here I'll just move to this direction and click. Alright, so now we can continue making this spline, and you can just make it as long as you want. But in this case, let's just exit out of this sketch for now, and let's once again start the surface spline. So I'll go to spline on surface, and this time I'm going to start right here. So let's just do that. Let's start here, and now I'm just going to make another spline. So in this case, it just ended right here, but I don't want it. So I'll just press escape and I'll start it again. So I'll click on this point, and now I'll just move once again back here on this surface. So once again, here we are, and here we have this spline. Now finally, I just want to join this spline with this one. So for that, you can just simply click here to join this, or you can even leave a gap, and using the next tool, which is fit spline, we can even merge the gaps. But for now, let's just join it with this one here. Alright, so now we have spline here, combination of two splines actually. So we have these two splines, and these two are actually 3D surface splines. Now if you want to join both of them into just one single spline, then you can use fit spline tool for that. So let's just do that. So I'll go to tools and spline tools, and right here we have fit spline. Now after creating this kind of sketch, if you have created it using several different splines, you may want to join them together, and that's where fit spline can be used. So here I'll select the first geometry and then the second one, and we have the fit spline now. Okay, so here it's added, and you can also see the purple sketch which SolidWorks is adding here. So this is the purple sketch, which is the fit spline. Now currently it's adding a tolerance of 0.01 mm, but you can increase this tolerance value, and let me just exaggerate it. So I'll just use a tolerance of 0.08 mm, and now you can see the difference in this. So here you can see the original one, and this is the spline which we are going to get. So of course, with a higher tolerance value, the curve won't be that exact, but if you want complete control over the final curve, then you can decrease the tolerance value. So I'll change this tolerance value back to 0.01 so that we get a tight curve which kind of resembles this original one as closely as possible. Now with that, we can click OK. And here we have few options like constrained, and if you just want to make it constrained, just keep this one, and if you don't want to apply the constraints on the fit spline which you are making, you can just uncheck this one and select the second one. Also, we can see the inflection points with this thing checked, and if you want to see the curvature comb, you can check this box and it will show you the curvature comb as well of this spline. Also, you can see the minimum radii just in case you are interested. So these are some of the options that you may want to keep on or off depending on the kind of spline which you are making. In this case, I will leave these options unchecked and only the inflection point is checked, but we can just keep this thing unchecked too. It hardly matters. And here we have delete geometry. Now with this thing selected, fit spline tool will delete the original curve and will just make this new spline, which is a combination of both of these. So in this case, let's just keep this thing checked so that we get only one final spline. Now click OK, and here we are. So we have got one single spline now. So that's how you can just create this 3D spline. Let's just exit out of this. And here we are. So now instead of two separate splines, we ended up with one single spline. And this is true for other 3D geometries as well. So if you have several 3D geometries and you just want to merge them together, you can use this fit spline tool for that. Okay, now let's see another situation where we can use fit spline in a meaningful way. So here we have this simple extrusion, and as you can see, we have all these sharp corners. Now this fillet is applied tangentially, so it is exactly tangent here on all the 4 vertices as well, but still when you just machine it, you will end up with these kind of sharp corners here. So it's not going to end up in a completely smooth shape, because here we have several different faces, as you can see. Now if you want to remove all of these faces and just want a single surface for all of these, then you can use Fit Spline. Let me show you how you can use it. Now to do that, I will go to this boss extrude feature, the first one which created this thing, and I'll expand this and select the sketch which we used for creating this. Now let's go to edit sketch, and here as you can see, we have a rectangle where we've added 4 of these fillets. Now instead of fillets, I will convert this complete geometry into a Fit Spline. So let's go to Tool, Spline Tool, and Fit Spline. Now with this selected, I'll select this entire geometry, and now this will convert this entire thing into one single spline. Now since it is going to just convert everything into one single curve, we will end up with a clean surface, so there won't be any kind of joints in all of these places. So here also I'll keep the tolerance to its minimum value of 0.01. Also delete geometry is checked. You can keep it unchecked if you want both of these shapes, the new spline as well as the original rectangle, but I just want to keep only one geometry here, so I'll keep delete geometry checked. And with that, I'll click OK. And here we are. We have got a completely clean spline. Now, of course, this is a simple spline, so we don't have any kind of fillet anymore, but this will resemble the main geometry within a tolerance value of 0.01. Now, if we exit this sketch, we will end up with this. And as you can see, we no longer have all of those creases here. So we have a completely smooth surface here. And if you just go on and machine this thing, there won't be any kind of crease right here. So that's another way you can use Fit Spline tool to get smooth surfaces wherever there are sharp edges or all of these creases. Now finally, let's look at one more application of Fit Spline, and for that I'm going to use the 3D sketch. So let's go to 3D sketch, and maybe using this I'll just make a simple spline here. So I'll just make a spline right here. I'll exit out of this, and let's just go to a spline again, and this time I'm just going to change my plane using tab key, and I'll maybe start again here and here. Now as you can see, these 2 splines are on entirely different planes. Now if you want to merge these 2 splines into just one, and if you want SolidWorks to do that work for you, then you can use Fit Spline again. So in this case also, I'll go to Tools and Spline Tool, and I'll select Fit Spline. Now, of course, there is a gap. These 2 are not physically touching each other, but still in this case, Spline tool will merge it together. So I'll select this first one and the second one, and as you can see, it will merge not only this gap, but this larger one as well. So it's completely up to you the way you want. In this case, I don't want a closed spline, so I'll uncheck this one, and now it will merge only this gap here. So with this gap merged and with a small tolerance value of 0.01 mm, I'll click OK, and here we are. We finally have one single spline, which is once again a combination of these 3 splines, the 2 original one and this third spline which merged the gap. And that's again another application of Fit Spline tool. So I'll exit out of this sketch, and here we have another 3D sketch, which is the last spline.